Hey guys, I am back again for another Spin Masters DC tour review. We're back at it with the Batman Forever 30th Anniversary Collection, or the Retro Collection of figures. And we're finally taking a look at the last two figures that I finally had to obtain to complete this DC Retro wave so far, and that is Robin and Two-Face. Can't get them fully in frame, but yeah, you can see there they are right there. So without wasting any time, just gonna go right into it. The package design is just as good as the first two figures I looked at, which is obviously Riddler and Batman. The packaging aesthetic in both of them are really good. I always like that they just basically reference the original look of the characters and the aesthetic based on the original figures released in 1995. Chris O'Donnell's Robin strikes a very Hydro Claw Robin outfit design, as far as I'm concerned. I guess that's what they're really going for with the look of Robin on this action figure, but it still looks pretty cool regardless. I mean, the overall artwork looks really good. It just makes the figure more justified. And then with Two-Face, it's essentially the same figure, but noticeable differences, obviously, and some corners cut, but I'm not going to really go into that part until I get the figure out of the package. But again, the packaging aesthetic is what really shines, and I really like the artwork on the character. And here's the backside. Nothing special. They just show you what else other figures you can have to collect, and also coming soon, some Superman figures. This might be teasing some Superman figure releases for the upcoming James Gunn movie, or possibly the proposed retro wave of figures inspired by Superman movies of the past. That will still be exciting if that's ever the case. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get these figures out their package and take a closer look. Alrighty, so now we got the two figures out their package. Now, before I get to Robin, because I'll save him to last, let's go to Two-Face. Let's talk about Two-Face. Now, at first, honestly, when this whole figure line just got launched, I was really only gravitating on collecting the figures like just Batman and the Batmobile, like just those particular figures, because Batman is a little bit unique on his own look because he's supposed to resemble the panda suit look of Batman. I mean, it's not entirely 100% accurate, but even then it's still just fine. I took that, but I gave in to get the rest of the figures because I just realized that not only it'd be really cool to get the rest of the figures, but of course it's Batman Forever. Of course, I am going to get most of these figures just to take a look at how they measure up to the other figures that I own. So now with that said, what do I think of this Two-Face figure? Now, honestly, at first glance, it's pretty good. And one of the things I like about it the most is that the hand right here, this hand, it's just it doesn't have a gun scope to it this time. But this hand, on the other hand, even though it's great that it does have an open hand, and it's only like two flaws here. One, I definitely do notice that they made it a little too big compared to the other hand. So he looked like he got a boxing mitt right here for his right hand. And of course, he's also got a signal painted right here, which means that must be a glove hand right there. It's just, you can see a symbol right there on his hand right there. And then I don't know what the heck was going on over here. So that's a bit of a design flaw when they try to redesign the Kenner look. And if I were to go and get a comparison out, here is my previous Two-Face figure. And this is from the Riddler 2-pack from Batman Forever, released back at that time. This is probably 1996 if possible. Yeah, you can see the difference. Like, obviously, the hand on this figure is meant to carry the coin, and then the hand over here has the gun sculpted onto it. And of course, there's a difference in the paint detail. This one supposedly resembles how it looks in the film, though it has a little bit of difference in the overall coloring of the tie and all that stuff. So it's not entirely 100% movie accurate, but even then, it still resembles Two-Face or Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face entirely. And there's also a better difference right here at the back. It's like they continued the zebra coloring style on the back right here instead of like what Kenner did, and they just didn't apply that to the back on their figures. Even the original Two-Face they released didn't have this. So it's definitely a win when it comes to Spin Master, even though it felt like they kind of cut back some corners on a certain areas, but they still managed to add some details that the Kenner figures missed out on. Even though the Kenner figure is much more refined in terms of detailing, the Spin Master still did a good job capturing that spirit as far as I'm concerned. And if we're going to get closer to the likeness on both of them, as you can see, I would say that the paint on the Kenner version definitely looked like they didn't really particularly do extremely well on it, but I don't know. It just looks okay in a certain angle, but it almost looks like it's a bit sloppy, but that's just probably on my figure entirely. I mean, you can definitely see which one definitely has the better advantage in face painting. But even then, I still would probably say both of them are pretty good, but only one of them wins in, like, being much more refined and movie accurate. I say this one is a lot better because of the overall hair being much more correct. But if I will say that this is a bit of a design flaw on the Spin Master version, that they did not paint the other half of the hair, or hell, they could have just at least redesigned that portion to make it look like it could still stand out as a movie accurate version of Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. But overall, I still think it looks pretty nice, regardless of that paint detail. And of course, the detailing on his mutilated face has been softened, but doesn't really bug me too much because at least the figure still looks like a Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face figure. I mean, yeah, the figure overall is the exact same, except for the obvious redesign details like the oversized right hand and the gunless left hand and all that. Oh yeah, right. There's also a bit of a bigger difference when it comes to the shoe on the other side. Like this one definitely has a much more refined paint detail on here to match how it looks in the film, and this one doesn't have that one at all. I mean, overall, both of these figures are pretty nice. But if I will say it is like this Spin Masters version is definitely a nice alternative, and it's also really good that it does have just an open accessory hand, so you can carry either the coin or a gun in either hand, or just this one hand. Personally, I definitely do like this figure. It's just not as good as the original version, but even then, it's still better on one thing, and that it doesn't have a sculpted on gun. So overall, I definitely like this Two-Face figure. And then we can put him aside, and let's go ahead and take a look at Robin. Now, Robin is a very interesting choice figure right here, because I was not expecting this particular Robin figure to get a certain re-release or re-sculpting. So of course, the body of this figure, I'm assuming, if I could be more honest with myself to try to remember how this is, but this might be Hydro Claw Robin or a particular type of Robin figure, but that's the only Robin figure I can think of that have this suit design. Even then, it's still a pretty cool design. You also got the permanently attached cloth cape right here, which is nice, even though it's like a little too short, but overall looks really nice. Here's how it looks on this side here. The suit is also nicely painted, or at least nicely casted in certain paint details. And like this whole, I really like the metallic green that they use. It definitely matches how the usual Robin figures would match back then when if they were released back in '95. They also got the Robin signal on here. Yeah, there's the Robin signal. That's in close-up detail. Now that looks a lot better. But yeah, you can see that that's the Robin signal, and it looks just like how it did in the film, actually. So just like the Batman figures they released, they finally got the symbols right for the actual characters. The overall likeness to Chris O'Donnell, you might not be able to see it because of that oversized mask, but even then, it looks pretty nice, and I can tell this is a Chris O'Donnell Robin just by looking at the face and everything. And again, the suit detail and everything, the suit design is just pretty cool. Though at the same time, I would have probably preferred a much better Robin choice. But again, they went with this choice, and I'm still fine with it because it's a pretty cool looking figure. And again, overall, it's very nice. Also, the detail is much more refined on this one than the Two-Face figure. If I would have to go ahead and say it, is that, yeah, this overall figure is just pretty cool. It's like it's starting to grow on me a lot more in terms of the overall look and aesthetic. Just, it's not my favorite Robin figure, but in the Batman Forever wave of between Kenner and Spin Master, this is definitely one of the coolest figures. It would have been better if it came with accessories, but much like most of the figures that Spin Master released so far, no accessories required, and it's still a bit of a bummer. So the going on comparison for the Robin figures in the Batman Forever toy line, I have the Skyboard Robin figure right here, which is basically the more movie accurate rendition of the character, aside from some inaccuracies with the overall logo and everything. But this is the closest to a movie accurate Robin. Then you get the Triple Strike Robin figure, which I reviewed a long while ago. Both of these figures, actually. Well, they all look pretty nice, and this figure also shares the same type of mask style as this figure, so there's a bit of a difference there in terms of the overall sculpting and details applied, how things have come between 1995 to now. And we got two more Robin figures to go over. We got the Street Biker Robin figure and the Batman and Robin Iceboard Robin figure alongside. So definitely this one is a bit taller than this figure, so it's kind of funny that it's almost like the scaling is a little bit different on these figures sometimes. And for one more comparison, here it is up against the best superpowers figure I still own in my collection, which is Nightwing from McFarlane Toys. Now, personally, it just fits really well. At the same time, it's a little too tall, but at the same time, it's just pretty fine by me. I don't care. And now these are all the Spin Master Batman Forever figures I have. This is basically it. This is all of them. Two Batmans, one Robin, one Riddler, and one Two Face, plus the extra side of a Batmobile to go alongside it. Alrighty, so that's going to be it for this review of the Batman Forever Spin Masters DC Retro Collection, 30th Anniversary Collection, action figures, Robin and Two-Face. Might have been a little quicker than I expected to go through with these two action figures, but of course, there was nothing much to talk about else with most of them because, well, one, I didn't have the original Hydro Claw Robin figure to compare it to, but I did have the other ones to compare it to get the difference across. And of course, I already made my point about how much I either like the Two-Face figure or not, but it's like the Two-Face figure is pretty good. Both figures are pretty good. Well, all the Spin Masters wave action figures of the Batman Forever Retro wave, they've been pretty good. And there's still some of the best figures they've released this year, and I'm very happy and grateful that they finally released these types of figures. But at the same time, their shortcomings is definitely accessories-wise. There's not enough gimmicks to make them pop out a little bit more. But again, they're affordable and they're cheap. They're not really much to, like, try to boost up the pricing up a little bit more. So as far as I'm concerned, they're definitely still worth the price of admission, and they're definitely some really awesome figures, and I'm still happy that they're out regardless. And I'm finally glad I completed this collection so far. I don't know if they're going to be continuing on with Batman Forever specifically for the retro DC toy line, but again, they'll be doing other movies, particularly Superman movies, and I'll be looking forward to any of those figures if they ever come out at all. But then again, only time will tell. Yeah, that's basically it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will be seeing you guys later.